All right, let's jump in. Today we're exploring the Black River Falls area in Wisconsin. We've got quite a mix of documents here, city stuff, local history, even, well, outdoor recreation plans for the region.
Yeah, it's quite a collection. Let's just see the place from, different perspectives.
Exactly.
And the idea is to really get into these sources, pull out the key bits, and see how it all fits together. The government, the history, the land, how they tell the story of Black River Falls.
Okay, so let's start with the kind of nuts and bolts. The city framework itself, based on their website info, it looks like a pretty clear structure, right? Departments, commissions.
Oh, absolutely. You got the elected common council, of course, but then these specific groups, the Plan Commission, thinking about development, the Historic Preservation Commission, focused on the past.
Parks and Rec, police, fire.
Yep, all the essentials, municipal utilities, the library, even the building inspector and the airport. Well, it's a pretty complete local government setup.
And for people living there, or businesses, the site seems quite practical, like how to get permits.
Right. Building permits, different business licenses, alcohol, tobacco.
Operator licenses, too. Even pawnbroker permits are listed. They cover a lot of ground for the practical needs.
What I found interesting looking at the zoning code wasn't just the rules themselves, but the why behind them, the stated goals.
Yes, that's key. It's not just about land use. They explicitly talk about fostering civic pride and, stabilizing property values, protecting attractions, helping businesses, improving how the place looks, and even educating people about historic preservation.
So it connects those maybe dry-sounding zoning rules directly to the community's identity, its feel, its future even.
Definitely. It's shaping the place. And the code defines things clearly: land use, landowner, land user, and there are teeth to it.
Meaning enforcement?
Yeah, consequences, potential forfeitures, special assessments if violations aren't fixed. It shows they're serious about upholding those broader goals.
And you get a feel for current events from the recent news and notices on the site. Some good news, like the new All Abilities Playground opening. That's great to see. You also see the wheels of administration turning, like the fire chief hiring process. They have to reopen the search, then made an appointment.
And policy debates, too, like that public hearing notice about potential residency restrictions for sex offenders. It shows the range of things they're tackling.
Right. And that little city spotlight piece about small businesses being local health heroes.
Yeah, a nice touch.
It acknowledges that connection between business and community well-being. Plus, the basic city hall address, police department hours, practical stuff.
Okay, so that gives us a sense of the current city operations. But a place is so much more than just its administration now. It's got history.
Deeply. And that history project you found offers a fantastic window into how that past is remembered, especially through one person, Edna Frances Perry.
She sounds like a really central figure in local history preservation. Her work started way back, didn't it, at the public library in 1940.
That's right. And then she got heavily involved with the Jackson County Historical Society from the mid-50s onwards. Those were her anchors.
And her work with the Charles Van Schaik photos seems absolutely crucial.
Immense. Van Schaik documented life there for, nearly 70 years. From 1879 to 1946, thousands of pictures, including many, many photos of Ho-Chunk families.
And a lot of his collection ended up at the Wisconsin Historical Society, but not all of it.
Correct. Some stayed local, apparently stored in places like the fire station, believe it or not, just because people weren't sure what to do with them, especially the glass negatives.
Wow. And Frances Perry took on the job of figuring out who and what was in those photos.
Exactly. That identification work is just invaluable. Without it, they're just images. With names, dates, stories, they become history.
The project also includes interviews with people who knew her, like her niece, Mildred Evenson.
Right. Mildred gives us a more personal view. Grew up nearby, on a farm, became a teacher, taught second grade for years right there in the area.
And she shares these lovely little details. Frances in a swimming suit at Lake Arbutus, serving tea with sugar lumps.
Human moments. And the story about Frances having polio as a child, her father noticing one leg was shorter. It rounds out the picture of her.
Mildred also helped with the photos later on.
Right.
Organizing them.
She did, putting prints and slides into protective sleeves. She confirmed the most fragile items, the glass negatives, are mainly down in Madison. There was apparently a hope around 2000 that people might buy copies of relatives, but that didn't quite pan out.
Another really important voice in this is Leona Greengrass McKee, a Ho-Chunk elder.
Yes, her perspective is vital. Born in Toma, her Ho-Chunk name, Washawina, means something like good woman, or some kind of woman.
And she talks about her upbringing, traditional but also Christian, navigating that complex space.
It's a powerful reminder of the complexities people navigate. And she mentioned some people resent that blending of traditions,
But the Ho-Chunk language is clearly so important to her. She still speaks it daily.
which is amazing. And hearing that it's now taught in a local high school, that's a sign of resilience, of cultural continuation.
Leona actually worked with Frances on identifying the photos.
She did, along with her mother, Melinda Greengrass, and another woman, Flora Bearhart. Leona mentioned that Frances got a lot of her information, especially about the Ho-Chunk individuals, directly from her mother and Flora.
That collaboration seems key. And then there's this detail. Frances Perry was adopted by a Ho-Chunk person and given the name Blue Wing.
Yes, and it's apparently on her gravestone. When you put that together with her dedication to preserving Ho-Chunk history through those photos, working so closely with elders, it really points to her being what some might call a cultural broker.
Someone who could bridge those different worlds.
Exactly. Build understanding. And Mary Perry, another person interviewed, talked about taping Frances going through slides, creating presentations like Cradle to Grave to share the images.
So spreading the knowledge.
And apparently Frances's location helped living on Main Street, right across from the library, made it easier to connect with Ho-Chunk people passing through. Flora Bearhart was particularly important in making sure Frances repeated the stories accurately, respecting the oral tradition.
All that work fed into something bigger, didn't it? A book.
Yes, ultimately it contributed significantly to the Wisconsin Historical Society, publishing People of the Big Voice, Photographs of Ho-Chunk Families by Charles Van Schaik, 1879-1942. A major outcome.
The project mentions other people, too, like Jim Speltz, another photographer.
Right. Came after Van Schaik, also well-regarded, apparently even helped with handling some of the delicate glass negatives, and Nancy Ostrich-Lurie, the ethnohistorian.
Known for Mountain Wolf Woman.
Yeah, she had long ties with the Ho-Chunk, helped the high school with curriculum, and used to visit Frances Perry. It shows this whole network of people invested in preserving this history.
Okay, so we've covered the city's operations and then this really deep personal story of historical preservation, especially around the Ho-Chunk community and those photos. Let's zoom out now to the natural landscape, the setting for all this. We can draw from that Maryland Outdoor Recreation Plan.
Right. That plan places the area geographically. It's in the western upland region of Wisconsin. Think ridges and valleys, coulees they call them.
Though Maryland itself is maybe flat.
The village itself, yes.
Yeah.
But head towards Black River Falls, and you definitely get into that bluffland topography. Very characteristic.
And water is a big feature. Halls Creek.
Yep. Flows through, forms Oakwood and Troll Lakes, and then eventually meets the Black River. Those are key spots for recreation, fishing, canoeing, that sort of thing.
And just east of town is the Black River State Forest? That sounds significant.
It is. It's huge, 68,000 acres. Pine and oak forests, sandstone features. The plan lists lots of uses.
Yeah.
Camping, hunting, hiking, skiing, ATVs.
And elk. They're reintroducing elk.
That's mentioned, yeah, an ongoing effort.
The plan also details some highly protected spots, state natural areas, SNAs.
Correct. Like the Upper Black River SNA, designated in 2010, runs along the river from Hatfield Dam down towards Black River Falls.
What makes it special?
It's got a mixed floodplain forest near the river, drier forests higher up, sandstone cliffs, streams with steep gradients, and it supports rare species, like the Louisiana water thrush, so it's really protected for biodiversity.
And there's another one, Catfish Eddy Terraces.
Also designated in 2010 on the East Bank further south, it's noted for its northern dry mesic forest, white and red pines, oaks, maples, plus springs, cliffs, seepages.
And Perry Creek runs through it. Also good habitat.
Apparently so, also supporting rare birds like that water thrush. These SNAs allow certain activities, hiking, fishing, hunting, bird watching, education.
But not others to protect the environment. No horses, no rock climbing, no off-trail vehicles, no collecting things.
Exactly. It's about low-impact use. And the wider regional plan for Maryland reflects this goals about maintaining facilities, protecting unique resources, and ensuring public access for recreation. Those are the priorities for the whole area's natural assets.
So quite a journey. We've looked at the city's structure and services. We've explored that incredible history preservation effort led by Frances Perry and others, focusing on the Van Schaik photos and Ho-Chunk heritage. And then we've considered the surrounding natural environment, the forests, rivers, and protected areas.
Yeah, bringing together the city records, the personal stories from the History Project, and the environmental plan. It really does give you a much richer, more layered understanding of Black River Falls than any single source could.
It definitely does. And it makes you think, doesn't it, about how all these different preservation efforts kind of intertwine. You have this city aiming to preserve buildings and character through zoning. You have this intense community effort to preserve memories and cultural history through photos and stories. And then you have plans to protect the natural landscape.
They all seem to be working towards defining the place, past, and future.
Right. So maybe the question to ponder is, what does it signal when a community puts so much energy into managing its built history, its remembered history, and its natural setting, all at the same time? What does that combination say about its relationship with its identity and where it sees itself going?